Well, good morning, guys, and welcome to the show, Fernando.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Today, we're going to take a look at this guy right here, the new AudioControl Epicenter Micro Pro. That's right. We're going to do a whole bunch of stuff with this. Let's roll the intro. Here we go. The Epicenter. Another awesome, amazing example of electrically elegant enhancement assembled exactingly in the Northwest rainforest. Yeah, that's like a tongue twister, but that is what AudioControl has been doing for a while. Hi-Fi Grand Prix award-winning audio video, proud member of IASCA, USAC. I mean, bulletproof audio. Now this is not the Epicenter Micro Pro. However, I thought it would make sense to kind of travel back in time a little bit to figure out where this all started and why it is so important. And this is an example of that. Like here is, this is a sticker, which it's Spike. Kind of see it. This is the instruction manual, old school. So this was one of the Epicenters out of Chris Kane's personal collection that he gifted to me a long time ago. Every time they would make one, there'd be 3. This one is the number 3. And well, the employees would end up with them, and he's had this sitting in his garage for a long time, and he knew how much of a fan I was of the Epicenter, and he brought this to us and he was like, here you go, man. I know you will appreciate this. And I was like, yes, it's still in the bag. Like it hasn't even been opened yet. And this is when it all started. It has the patent number on it, digital bass restoration. Let's see if we can get it out of the cardboard here. Yeah, still in the bag. What I was trying to find is maybe if there was a date, and there probably is one, but I'm not going to open this bag because this bag has never been opened. It has been sitting sealed like this in his garage for a very long time, and now it is sitting in my garage for an even longer time. So we'll tuck that guy back in there. Bass knob. They've been making these for a very long time. So much so that they came out with this guy here, the anniversary edition. I have 2, actually. This one is numbered, and this one is not. Now, when they did these, there was a certain amount of them that went out to certain people. Fernando got one, Steve Mead got one, I think Mark Cardio Fab got one, but they didn't get this one. We talked about those 3 that they would get. This is one of the original 3s that they received as a test piece. So this model here, this little screen, this screen lights up blue. This one does not. This one actually lights up orange because this was the proof for the artwork. They sent them 3 of these for various reasons, and they could do testing and whatnot. Some of them were circuit board. This one happened to be the artwork that they got, and so this still lights up orange because they hadn't changed the circuit board yet. And when I was there, I was like, this is coming home with me. Now, after the anniversary edition, we went back to the standard Epicenter concert series, digital bass restoration, and it has the standard knob. It's the one they've been making for a while. They even made it in this guy, which is the Mexican edition. Mexico has the flag, has some cool artwork on it, and it all came back to this guy, the Epicenter bass knob. This is a single knob. This just adjusts the effect. So when you'd put one of these in, you'd have to have 2 knobs. So when they decided to go back in and look at the Epicenter and let's make it different, they changed a few things. First thing they changed was the knob. We got the ACR4. It's a dual function knob. So you have the back piece, you have the front piece. One is subwoofer volume and the other one is the Epicenter effect. The other thing is that they have had high-leveled versions of an Epicenter, but it never really did well. And with the revamp of the LC2i Pro and the LC1i, they were like, I think we could go back in and make something form factor wise that would look like those. So when doing an install, if you put in an LC1i, you could easily upgrade to an LC2i, and then if you had an LC2i or an LC1i, you could upgrade to an Epicenter Micro. And they all had very similar features, even though this was a dual function knob, it's the same that works on all the ACRs. So you could easily unplug this, unplug the power, and then plug in your Epicenter Micro using the same wire, not having to change anything. These all have load resistors built into them. Made upgrading fairly simple, and it followed a very uniform form factor. And that brings us to this guy, the Epicenter Micro Pro. And you're saying, well, okay, we've had a lot of iterations of Epicenters. Why now this one? And well, hey, there's a good reason for it. And that just has to do with some of the things that the Epicenter Micro doesn't do that you may want in a Pro version. Just like we got the LC2i Pro, now we have the Epicenter Micro Pro. Let's take a look at it and we'll kind of talk about some of those new features and some of the features that, well, overlap and why you might want this one over just the regular Micro. First thing in the box, the ACR4. If you want to take this apart, there are two little Allen screws here that go in. Make sure that when you're putting them back in, you do not over tighten this one here, because if you go crazy and like, what'll happen is you'll pinch it and this will not work. And they don't pull off. You have to loosen these up, take them out. And they're not made out of plastic. They are nice aluminum bass knobs. Same wire that is in all of the kits. Any audio control bass knob that is an LC amplifier, a D amplifier, a LC2i, an LC2i Pro, an LC1i, an LC5, an LC7, they're all the same. Then we have the Epicenter Micro Pro, we have the instructions, and we have an Allen key for your bass knob, and of course the guitar pick. And some of you go, what's with the guitar pick? The guitar pick is their idea of a screwdriver for setting their controls. If we go back to the case real quick, because we got excited, I wanted to open it, I'm not gonna lie. Let's go back and let's look at the packaging, because there again, we know we can glean a lot of information about the product from the packaging. Bass restoration processor, line output converter, building on the legacy bass processing of the Epicenter Micro Pro adds more control and tuning potential for those who wish to push even further into the unexplored outer realms of extreme bass performance. And that's why I wanted to bring out all the predecessors to this, because, well, you know, there is a big history with this, and this is why this has lasted so long. The Epicenter Micro Pro features speaker level inputs with load selection and balanced line input boosted by a built-in line driver. That's one of the big new features, a variable PFM subsonic filter with bypass, multiple turn-on modes, and selectable ground isolation provide unparalleled flexibility for all installation scenarios with the included ACR4 dual function remote. Effortlessly dial in the Epicenter effect and control subwoofer levels from the comfort of the driver's seat. Talks about the ACR4 and the dual function. Epicenter Micro Series amplifiers now available. If you're looking to add this to an Epic Series amplifier, which is a good idea, it has your Epic amplifier has the Epic output that can be wired to the Epicenter Micro. Why it is a good idea is that the Epic Series amplifiers do not have high level to low level capabilities. So if you're planning to add this into an existing factory stereo, these two products complement each other really well. The Epicenter Micro Pro specifications, this will take 40 volts of input. Maximum output voltage is 9 volts RMS with 13 volt peaks. And then down here in the bottom, beverage of choice, Georgetown Brewing 9-pound porter. Let's take a closer look at this unit and talk about all the little dials on it. On the sides here are your input for speaker level and power and ground. And these are what makes it super easy to upgrade, because these unplug, and of course your RCA's unplugged. And if you have something like the LC1i, you'll notice that they're in the same positions, to where you can just unplug these and plug them back in, easily taking out one of these, also one of these, and upgrading to any one of the four. Taking a closer look at the power plug, ground, constant 12 volts, remote in, remote out. When using this, use the remote out to turn on your sub amp. So come into this and then come out of this. Now, if you're hooking this up as high level here, then you have trigger mode here in the center as an option. Remote in, that's going to allow you to use the remote in, remote out function. GTO, or great turn on. If you're going to hook it up via high level, the GTO is a great option. Therefore, you do not need a remote in. The remote out will be generated to turn on your amplifier. And then last, we have audio. Audio trigger is a last ditch effort. If you have no way to get this thing to turn on, or you're just going to test it, audio is fine, but I would not leave that as a final choice. This this is a great way to test it if like your remote turn on doesn't work and your GTO is not working. You're like, I just want to see if this works. Try audio, but then go back and either put a remote turn on in or find a place to get GTO. The reason for that is audio works and it will turn it on. However, is not the most reliable. In a bad situation, can kill the battery for your car because it'll just randomly turn on and off the system, which could be bad. Outside of that, if you're going to be hooking it up to a high level, you have your load built into that. And what I mean by that is you do not need to go out and buy the LGDs. None of them. You don't need the blues, you don't need the greens, you don't need the grays. They are built into this by simply selecting the switch here, the 20K, the 60, or the 20. Most applications are going to be green, which is 20. That means the switch would go all the way up to the top to 20 ohm. On the opposite side of that is ground isolation. If you're getting any form of strange noise or buzzing or anything like that, this will allow you to go in and select different ground configurations to eliminate that. I can tell you of the hundreds of these I've put in, I've actually never used this. It's never been needed, it's always worked. They talked about the PFM filter, which is basically their subsonic filter. You have 24 hertz, 15 hertz, and off. So if you're using this and you're trying to recreate 10 hertz, make sure you put this on off. For everybody else, if you're not wanting to like totally kill your subwoofers with super deep bass, try 15 or 24. On the other side of that, you have your signal inputs, balanced or unbalanced. Looking at the Epicenter Micro has very similar with the exception of the output voltage here. It's 5, 7.5, and 10, and then you don't have the balanced and unbalanced switch. Looking at the Pro, we have the input gain and we have the output gain. We have our maximized lights for both of those. That means you don't need any form of test equipment. You can put this in, play whatever you want for your sine sweep, your test tone, your dynamic song, whatever you like. You could turn up the input gain until that light comes on. You can also do the same thing for your out. And of course, you still have wide and sweep. Now this is where a lot of people go, I don't really know what you mean by wide and sweep. And so for that, now we're gonna hook this up so we can actually take a look at what it's doing to the signal. The first test we want to take a look at is the PFM filter. For our visual testing, we're using the IRTA2 2-channel electrical RTA plugged into our iPad, playing Studio 6 Soundscape VR. This gives us the ability to adjust the scale both horizontally and vertically, as well as slow down or speed up the response. Right now we're at about a 2-second response because I don't want it too slow that we don't actually see what's happening, but I want it moving enough to where we can see what's going on. Test tone we're getting from the Educar Test and Tune app. We are using pink noise bass only. It is set to 24, which is just this side of the RTA over here. If we go to just drastic steps, which is just turning it off, we'll notice that we get that energy back, and that is under the guise that there is energy there in the first place. Depending on the cables you're using, the source unit you have, this might not even matter. Turning it back up, we'll notice that it starts to drop off in this area here, removing some of that super deep bass that you might want. Turn it off one more time. We can see that energy is restored. For this next test, we're gonna use the Parabase, which is wide and sweep. Sweep is your frequency, and that is adjustable between the low side of 27 and the high side of 63. And our RTA is set for 20 to 160 hertz, and we're playing Van Halen, because Van Halen has no bass. And what we're looking at here is the song playing without this affecting it. We have the ACR4 turned all the way down with the effect. A good place to start on Parabase is put your width at 12 o'clock, which is straight up and down, and put your sweep somewhere in the middle as well, which is 12 o'clock straight up and down. That gives you the ability to kind of play with it and see where it's at. And we have subwoofer level control, so we can turn our bass up and down. We're missing all of this, so basically anything from 50 hertz down is not doing anything until we start rolling up the knob here, and just a little bit on the knob, not much. Fix that issue. And we want to make it a little bit more exciting, we can do this. If we're like, I want more deep bass, we can adjust the sweep to the left, or if we want a higher bass, we can adjust the sweep to the right. And as we turn up our effect, it will start to get more and more intense. And just to reset it so we know where we were at, this is the normal song, and just a little bit of Parabase in it. I liked what the 12 o'clock was doing. I think this looks and probably sounds more natural. And if you turn up the volume on the subwoofer, it gets more intense. Something to keep in mind with an Epicenter, there's a multitude of uses for it. We're playing music and it's adding in this sound that doesn't exist. If you have a factory stereo that has a high pass filter on it and you're playing pink noise, it's gonna look like this also. And I can use this to fix that and bring all of that back. Not only can you use it to create bass in songs that don't have bass, but you can use it to fix cars where they have high pass filtering. There's really nothing you can do about it because it's not there. You need some form of EQ, in this case harmonic restoration, that will fill in that void and give you that more luscious sounding bass. Now if it's too boomy, then we're gonna work the wide and we'll turn that down, and that will thin it out just a little bit. You see this kind of going away. And if you want it more boomy, we'll turn it up all the way. As you can see, it kind of got fatter and it's widening out that area. The next thing we want to take a look at is our input and output gains. Play a 40 hertz test tone from our phone to see if we can get the max input and output lights to do their bidding. We'll start by turning up the input gain. And we're not getting anything on the input gain, so we're going to back that down to about halfway, and then we'll start turning up our output level. And there we go, we're getting a little craziness there. We'll turn it down some, turn it down, okay, and then it went away. Turn it back up, we got it. There is what that looks like. And there we have it, a first look at the new Epicenter Micro Pro and all of the cool things it can do for you and some of the fun you can have with it, which after all is part of it. This is car stereo. We like things that sound fun. We like to listen to our music, and hey, we like to have just deep, luscious bass. That's all I got for you today, Fernando.
On to the next one, guys.
We hope you enjoyed this first look at the Epicenter Micro Pro. You guys have a great night as always, and we'll see you later next time.
Bye.
Bye.